In the month of October, my blimp did land on an island that did not have any sand. The ground you see was concealed with fog, and I was welcomed with a face that could not mog. Little did I know, his hatred for ghosts covered a secret that went uncovered by most, until I, White Rock / Funny Gamer / Curious Lightning / Small Speck, brought it afloat. Don't worry, I will not be rhyming for the rest of this, unless you want me to some other time. Seriously though, I come across this island. I'm not going to lie, I've never played it before, and the first thing I see is this guy saying that he's going to hunt for ghosts, this guy threatening anyone who hunts for ghosts, and this guy ever so subtly selling merch that encourages people to hunt for ghosts. For context, this island is called Ghost Story Island. I wonder if there are any ghosts. Before we figured that out, I could not help but notice this sign which read Hemlock Harbor, which shares a name with a poisonous plant called hemlock that unalived Socrates, the philosopher. This was, of course, after Socrates taught Plato, who taught Aristotle, who appears on Time-Tangled Island to teach us. Back to this island, we pass by a gingerbread house, which I presume to be the right place in the wrong island, where the person inside asserts that they only sell treats and nothing else, referencing a story called Hansel and Gretel, where kids are scared into not talking to strangers, lest they become baked goods themselves. I left the gingerbread house in the Halloween spirit, just to be forced to take some salt from this superstitious guy who cannot for the life of him stop shaking salt over his shoulder. I then stumbled upon a graveyard. I did not hear anything yet, but my Poptropican did, as after what I perceived to be complete silence, they ask, "What was that sound?" To which this Canada Goose brand ambassador responds, "The sun is setting, and soon it will be the witching hour. Why not allow me to be your guide to some of our town's most haunted sites?" I skeptically reply, "Are there really ghosts in Hemlock Harbor?" They reply, "There are indeed," as the fog conveniently starts to diminish. Yikes, I need to be on my way before I get in. Oh! The only person we thought we could trust on this island fled like Greg Williger and dropped a pamphlet of Hemlock Harbor's most famous ghosts, which landed right into our inventory. The magistrate began trash-talking Hemlock Harbor's residents to me, calling them a quote, flock of ghost-hunting imbeciles. He then had the gall, the gumption to threaten me, telling me that, quote, if I have no business in these woods, I suggest you find lodging for the night. I wanted to speak up and say, oh no you didn't, or at least defend the ghost hunting imbeciles he described, but I was distracted by the small, slightly ajar mouth of this Pee Wee Herman lookalike. He asked me to help find his unalive grandfather in exchange for a room or something, but I decided to channel my selfish era and find a room first, only to find that the rooms of the only inn in town were all bought out. So I generously, selflessly scoured the town's newspaper archives to find the burial site of Pee Wee's Peepaw. Pee Wee gave me the key to his room at the inn, which was run by this lady who also had a weird mouth, and this lady who could not stop talking about her man. I unlocked my room, laid my head to rest, and woke up to furniture moving on its own. Are the rumors true? Is this island really overtaken by ghosts? Is this my final night in Poptropica? No, these freaks who owned the hotel were just moving my furniture. Now I knew I couldn't trust her as soon as I saw her mouth, and this lady? I just don't like this lady, okay? I proudly threatened to report them to the magistrate. They then bribed my Poptropican with some story about a woman in a window who appears when you play a violin. I forced them to apologize profusely, though no amount of sorry agains could replace the night of sleep I lost from their shenanigans. I steal the violin from the lobby and effortlessly play the exact tune needed to summon the woman in the window without any sheet music. Wow! I take my expertise to the house where the woman in the window allegedly dwells. Once I finished playing, the window moved, but my avatar couldn't see it and demanded a closer look. We went to borrow this guy's binoculars. He was able to see what happened in the window. Did you get that? He was able to see what happened in the window. He foolishly told me all about it. Unbeknownst to him, the magistrate heard all he needed to hear and took him away. Oh well, better him than me, right? He kind of gave himself away with this shirt, which depicts Pac-Man, a video game character known for hunting and eating ghosts. We took his binoculars because he can't use them in jail, and we used them to find a woman in the window. Now we must investigate. The front door of the house is inaccessible, but that couldn't stop us. But it stopped me because low-key I couldn't figure this out, so in the meantime I visited the graveyard where I met an engraver, a conspiracy theorist, and the long-lost twin of the waitress on 24 Carat Island. I also learned about the celebrity ghost from the pamphlet that Mr. Canada Goose gave to us. There is allegedly a cloaked spirit who haunts the graveyard, a thief who haunts the bank, an incompetent warden who haunts the abandoned prison, a slightly less incompetent lighthouse keeper, and a woman that haunts the window that we just saw. Speaking of, I finally figured out how to get in the house. I snuck in through the basement, just like I did on the haunted house mini quest. I got scared of a doll, MacGyvered a staircase, walked past this super cute vintage couple, and ascended to the top of the house, where I admired the beautiful furniture and landscape. Until I heard what frightened most Poptropicans in their childhood.
Looking for someone?
In my panic, I missed the fact that she was not a ghost, along with the opportunity to bully this pamphlet for spreading misinformation. The woman in the window is named Fiona, just like the princess from Shrek, and she encourages our illegal ghost hunting and instructs us to see Jane the baker for more information. We disregard the law and go to the bakery. You again, are you going to buy something this time? Where we maintain our passive-aggressive rapport with Jane the baker by eloquently exclaiming, "Open sesame!" Oh, come on, White Rock / funny gamer / curious lightning / small speck. Even I know that's from the wrong island. We then just come clean and say Fiona sent us, and after this, Jane reveals what she had been gatekeeping all along. Some sick ghost hunting gadgetry, which includes a thermal scanner, thermometer which read to be approximately 67 degrees, an EMF detector, and a camera, even though it is commonly believed that you cannot see ghosts on camera. This also correlates with the common belief that ghosts do not have shadows, and I do say shadow as in foreshadowing. I made my way back to the cemetery, reunite with the long-lost twin who rudely shushed us in anticipation of the cloaked apparition. I gullibly took a photo of them and said, "Wowzers! Evidence of a real ghost!" I immediately reported this to the newspaper, and not just because there was a $50 incentive for any evidence found of real ghosts, okay? I got my monies and responsibly went to deposit it to the bank. The guard of the bank vault had a cute white baby little watchdog boy with the cutest little white tummy, who allegedly could not contain themselves from barking and scratching the floor whenever they entered the vault. You know, it is a commonly held belief that dogs have an easier time detecting paranormal beings like ghosts than humans do. Anyway, after using our technology, the security guard kicked us out of the vault. We went upstairs, rang the bell in anger, and stormed outside, where we were greeted by the conspiracy theorist, salesman, saltman, and ghost hunter number 1. They were all holding newspapers. What could possibly be on the papers? I rejoiced in the fact that I technically finally made the news for something that did not include allegedly stealing a painting, until the party pooper himself, the magistrate, denounces our photograph as misinformation? I'll show you misinformation. He then dares to tell everyone to leave, takes me by the neck with his cane and says, "I'm keeping a very close eye on you. You better hope you are not the one behind all of this nonsense." We chase him, trying to prove our innocence. How dare he accuse me of being associated with this? But he was too quick, and we find ourselves at the shore, confused and lost. Just like this guy who arrived to town as we were being threatened. He asked for a place to stay. We give him our haunted room that is a little bit too accessible for our liking. And in turn, he lets us use his boat, which is named Kestrel, a common North American falcon known for hunting. Not ghost hunting, but hunting. Interesting. Kestrel is also a very common name for boats in real life. We immediately hop aboard the boat and explore the rocky sea which surrounds Hemlock Harbor. We dock at the lighthouse, just to find ourselves burdened by a windy and broken staircase. We find a way to strategically ascend, just to say, "Looks like there is a building out there. I should check it out." Yeah, okay. We make our way to Hemlock Harbor Prison. We entered the OG Pelican Rock just to complain about how big it is. Of course, it can't be bigger than our brain, right? Nor can it be too big for the EMF detector to help us with, right? I tried the elevator, was appalled at the amount of buttons on it. Like, guys, look, it's the whole alphabet. And started at floor Z, then I went to floor Y, where I searched some prison cells like a real warden. I went up to floor X, where I did the same, then I skipped to floor G for ghost. This is when the EMF detector picked up. I knew I was close, but not close enough. I went to floor H, it increased some more, and then I went to floor I, where the signal decreased. I went back to floor H, and lo and behold, the warden's office was present further down the hall. I bribed the warden with some hot cross buns, which we know from the pamphlet that he cannot resist, even at the expense of his job and peace in the afterlife. Hot cross buns are pieces of bread with different flavors popular in Great Britain among other countries around the Atlantic Ocean, often used to commemorate Good Friday. These hot cross buns in-game have raisins inside, but other variants have orange spices and even chocolate instead. Jane the baker gave these to us earlier. As soon as we put the hot cross buns on the table, guess who rolls in? The incompetent big bag himself, the warden. He literally eats the entire plate in front of us and says, "You are not prisoner 24601. I'm not. Who's that? See for yourself." Ooh. He was the only man to escape from this prison when I saw the hole he dug up in his sail. I covered it up, fearing that my error would bring shame to this institution, and it did. So what happened? The truth became known and the prison was shut down. Now, I haunt these walls forever, unable to be free until his whereabouts are discovered. Haha, that's what you get for not doing your job. What? We have to find him? What do you mean? What do you mean find him? It's your job. Not him being dead and still finding a way to avoid his job. We went to the cell of the prisoner just to find a book carved out in the shape of a pickaxe. We Charles Atlas the bed just to be locked inside the cell. You lazy big back warden, if you weren't dead, I'd... There's no other way out, right? So I went through the tunnel. I found a pack of sardines packaged by a guy named Steve, just to find a pickaxe shortly after. But then I was thrown off by the fact that my head was a circle. After this, I found the ghost, the runaway, prisoner 24601, the person the warden was supposed to find, not us. We put this note into our inventory, after which prisoner 24601 dropped a major amount of lore. He exposed himself as the bank vault thief, which means that this pamphlet was wrong because prisoner 24601 was actually tricked into digging under the bank vault. He only wanted to escape the prison. Somebody named Flatbottom tricked him into thinking that this was an escape route, and he led prisoner 24601 to be immortalized in this pamphlet, not as a document forger like he really was, but instead a thief. Misinformation! What's not misinformation, and is instead tea, is the rest of prisoner 24601's dialogue, where he says that he tricked somebody named Valiant under the influence of this flat-bottom guy. We finally read the note, which confirms this. Serves him right for trusting somebody with the name... Too easy? Too easy. But seriously, whoever Flat Bottom is, he is an op and he is closer than we think. With no choice but to be nosy now, I dig my way out of the cell with just to roam back to the shore and find that the thermometer sensor is picking up a drop in temperature. I should go check the lighthouse. We go back to the lighthouse and find ourselves in the presence of the other incompetent employee in the pamphlet! This guy is a crybaby, and for good reason. In tears, he tells me that he was napping on the job, and as a result, he did not properly guide a particular ship on the way to England, causing it to crash into a bunch of rocks. So what do? We find the shipwreck and pillage it, only to find a locket with a very not so steamy, I dare say foggy love notes from Fiona, declaring that, "Dear Valiant, although I romance. Okay, although I promise to be your wife, I must tell you that I've fallen in love with someone else and no longer wish to see." Ooh, that's cold. Oh, this is heartbreaking. I feel bad for Valiant. "And no longer wish to see you. If you truly love me, it would be best for you to leave this town and allow me to live my life." Ooh, she's telling him to leave too? Oh, that's borderline bullying. Fiona is not our friend. Fiona must pay. As a member of the human race, I want no part in this. I shoved the items we found into her hand just for her to crash out on us. But alas, instead of a proper crash out, she introduces another plot twist in the form of a lament, where she mourns, "Oh my dear Valiant, tricked by a forged letter and so hurt by this lie that you threw my locket out to sea? Henri, if you were responsible for this, I have no remorse for discarding your ring." So this is just like a love triangle? "Let it sit at the bottom of the fountain forever." Yeah, not even the pamphlet had enough room to cover this drama. She drops an entire scrapbook during her crash out, which we investigate. We find photos captioned, "Such a dashing young seaman, eternal love, the best of friends, dancing to our favorite song, the beginning of a brilliant career," and this one even has Fiona's famous violin in the background. I wonder who was playing it. We conclude, and we make haste to the fountain that I have ignored until this part of the video. We bribe this bird with Steve sardines, found the ring which was in their nest, and took it to the engraver who gave me all the lore that I needed. For reference, this ring was engraved with a message reading, "May my love bring you joy." I remember this piece. It wasn't enough to sway Fiona's heart. Ooh. At least Mr. Flatbottom had his job to occupy him. What is his job? If you want the whole story, go to the newspaper archives and look up August 18th, 1929. I need to find the newspaper from August 18th, 1929. Oh, well, would you look at that? Flatbottom becomes youngest magistrate. First order of business to be the creation of a memorial for the sailors of the Mermaid. Magistrate Flatbottom unveiling a tribute to the brave crew, which included his close friend Valiant Lovejoy. It will be erected in Lot A. Ooh, that's dark. That's why he doesn't want ghost hunting. Flatbottom is the magistrate. I think I know who the mysterious cloaked figure is now. Wait, what? Wait, what do you... I love how we're on completely different pages. This is messy. Especially when you realize that the engraving that Flatbottom wrote literally had Valiant's name on it. "May my love bring you joy, love, joy," when he knew darn well Fiona was in love with Valiant. How manipulative. We need more answers, so we find the grave from the newspaper, which was closed before, but is now open, like our eyes, to the true lore of this island. The grave concealed a maze, which for the most part guided me with rose petals. We make our way through, climb a ladder, just to hear more footsteps. Whose feet dare trod in our presence? Those feet belong to none other than the cloaked figure himself, in all his grim reaper-esque glory. He sneezes because he's allergic to the truth. My Poptropican then imposes a ghost stereotype onto him, declaring that, "Ghosts don't sneeze." Who are you? Hey! Get back here! The chase begins. We wisely remember how the salt man told us,
"A pinch of salt a day keeps the spirits away."
Just to reveal, "Begone, mortal! We'll see who's mortal." Ah! Ah, that stings! The magistrate! Yes, I am, and with my authority, I command you to leave this place. You must answer for your crimes. You're responsible for a forged note that sent Valiant Lovejoy to his unaliving. It's true, I confess. Only with my best friend gone, I could woo my dear Fiona, but her heart belonged to Valiant alone. She rejected me and died shortly after, waiting for her love to return. Fiona is dead? For nearly 50 years, I visited her grave, leaving a rose as a token of penitence for my terrible deed, but I can never forgive myself. So you just projected it onto everybody else? Henry, your crime deprived so many souls of rest. We thank you for your confession and What? I would not forgive him, I'm just saying. Perhaps we can all find peace now. Fiona, I have returned. This don't steal your girl! Valiant, I never lost hope. Now let us rest. Oh, what a beautiful ending. I traveled back to receive proper kudos for my quest, and most people thanked me. And this lady kept apologizing. As I spammed her apology, I realized most of the characters on this island disappeared. In peace, from the ghost story of Poptropica. Fun fact, when I was writing this video, Google featured Pac-Man in their logo. If you don't remember, Pac-Man was the only entity on this island who the magistrate did not threaten or traumatize. Google featured Pac-Man to celebrate Halloween. The logo linked to a game called Pac-Man Halloween 2025 Edition, which I used as B-roll earlier in this video. Anyway, if you don't like, comment, and or subscribe, then I am afraid to say that you, indeed, are a ghost hunting imbecile. Thanks for watching!